but don't worry about my titles. I'm coming on here just for hopefully just a few minutes just to talk about healthy communication issues. And so I want this message to go out to couples, whether you're married, dating, whatever, because communication is one of the key components of a healthy, stable relationship. But the key is healthy communication. Now, just to give a brief background that what gets in troubles in relationships, of course, is our family of origins. So when we grow up witnessing our parents or significant caregivers, how they communicate with one another, we can learn some bad habits basically when it comes to how we talk to one another. And then another foundational truth about communication is the difference between men and women. God created us different. We have some similarities, but we are also fundamentally different. And we, as different human beings, that we process information and situations a little bit differently. You can look this up on your own. There's plethora of different research out there about the difference between the left and right brain and how men tend to be more analytical problem solvers, whereas women, we tend to be more emotional focused as far as our first approach to things. Now, of course, there's no cookie cutter person, but these tends to pan out again. But at the foundation, there's difference between men and women. So family of origin, how mom and dad or a significant other talk to each other, and then of course the difference between in our genders. Okay, so that's the foundation. So when it comes to communicating, there is a right and a right way to do it. And the way we communicate always starts with us. We are the one speaking out our talks, our messages, what's going on inside to the other person or persons. And communication, yes, it's a two-way street. And in order for that street to move smoothly, we got to understand first, we got to start with us. Us. All we can control is ourselves. We can't control our partner. We can't control other people. All we can control is us. So that's the first thing to understand. And the way that I think, the way that I process life situations and things like this, that is going to dictate the way that I talk to you, talk to people. Now, if my filter is negative, distorted, or anything like that, which is typically linked to my family of origin, how I grew up, it's going to cause a breakdown in the communication, which I am often seeing in my counseling sessions, especially when I do couples counseling with people. The differences in their communication styles and the issues stand out pretty quickly. And in order for us to have, I don't know who gets into a relationship saying, I want a bad relationship. No, right? We get into relationships because they feel good. It feels good to be loved and cared by someone. But somewhere love gets lost in translation when we start talking to one another, when life hits us, when life comes about. And this is so crucial for us to overcome. And I want to start with my own personal journey. When I got first into marriage, unfortunately that didn't last. But here's the thing: when I first went into it, I asked an old lady who I knew they had been married for like over 60 years, and I asked her, how did you guys do that? Now they were Christians and I'm a Christian, but and that was part of her talk to me. But one thing that she said that stood out to stands to this day is this: do I want to be married, or do I want to be right? Think about that. Do I want to be married? Do I want to be right? And then if we bring it to more current, same area of information, I came across a comedian named Michael Yule. You can look him up on YouTube. And one of his testimonies is being coached and taught by his father about dating and marriage advice. And this thing, the advice his father gave to him is absolutely spot on. Because basically, you can go look it up. Michael Yo, in his is one of his stand-ups. He talks about how his father talked to him, son. If you want to have a good marriage, you want to have a happy wife, if you want to have a happy life, when it comes to talking to your Mrs., understand she's going to say and do some things that to you will seem like the dumbest thing or say the dumbest thing ever or wrong. And understand, if you want to have a stable life, a stable relationship, listen to me. When it comes to us men, the first thing is do not say the first thing that comes to your mind. Don't say the first thing that comes to your mind. Don't say the second thing that comes to your mind. When you do finally speak to the knowledge that you have of your wife who is different than you. She is a female. God created us as females to be sensitive, and sensitive is not a bad word. But we're emotional beings for the most part, and we have to be treated and talked to a certain way where we receive what we consider love and care. Because otherwise, if you try to talk to us like we're men, that's going to get lost in translation, and that's what leads to fights, and that's what leads to resentments and bitterness and fighting back and forth and eventually breaking up in divorce. So if you don't want your relationship to break up, end up in divorce, please listen to the old lady, Michael Yo's father's advice. And I'm just repeating their advice and co-signing on their advice. Of course, there is right and wrong. 1 + 1 is going to always equal 2. But in relationships, we can get into where a gray area where right and wrong sometimes is a little squirrely. And I love the fact that Michael Yo's father had that gift to tell to his son, to translate to his son, and how he's helped his relationship flourish and stay. Because men are analytical problem solvers and women were emotional. And 9 times out of 10, when we are talking about our own issues and things like this, we both kind of need a different approach. When we as women talk to each other, girl, you know, so and so, and this is going on with me, and that's going on there, and like this. The other woman, because we're naturally do this, girl, that's terrible. Girl, I get it. That's understandable. We do that naturally. It's called being empathetic, empathy, validating. But men having the same conversation, they're going to go immediately to, well, did you do this? Or why did you do that? Do this. Okay, this is the way you should do it. Because that's the difference between men and women. Men are fixers, problem solvers. Women, we are emoters and validators. Now, of course, when we get into a relationship, man, woman, if we don't accept and realize those differences, we're going to fight and we're going to have arguments where things get lost in translation, because the woman may come up and say, hey, honey, man, Susie, she just keeps doing this, and the kids keep doing that, and blah, blah, blah. And the husband is listening like the first thing on his mind is, won't you leave Susie alone if she ain't that good a friend? And the kids are going to be out of control. The first thing out of their mind, the first thing on their thought is to give her advice. And it's called unsolicited advice. I didn't ask you, what do you think I should do about Susie and the kids? I was just venting. When what I really wanted from my mate is what women do, but it's a skill men can learn. And there actually are men who do this differently. We're not trying to beat up on our men, but there are men who do this empathy, validating naturally. But this skill can be taught, okay? It can be learned. When we women are venting to you, we don't want advice. Don't tell us you should know better. This is what you should do. Have you tried that? Unless we have told you, what should I do about XYZ? But men tend to just blurt off the first thing off their mind. Why? What you doing with her? Leave her alone. And then what that translates to us, it does not translate love, concern, and that you are hearing us. And that's what, when the couples get to come to me for couples counseling, they're at a stage where the wife is like, he don't care, he don't ever listen to me. And the husband's like, I don't know what she's talking about. I listen to her. And then they go back and forth arguing. And it's because if we break it down, drill down to the onion, we can hear and see when the wife, in a sense, in his world, in his view, is she's complaining. Why don't she just stop doing whatever it is, or see the whatever? And the wife feels unsupported and unloved. And if we don't want to our person to feel that, we've got to take personal responsibility and see how we can talk to each other in a way that translate what we say we are, loving people. We tell each other we love each other, but then it doesn't translate to the other person because we are speaking a different language. To speak the same language is to understand one another's different positions. And so, to give a perfect example, I'm piggybacking off of one of Yo's tests in his stand up. A perfect example of this. Me, the wife, I go online and I'm like, I see this stereo player thing, it's half price, and I don't even look at the descriptions of it. I've just wanted a new stereo for a long time, and so I just go click, I buy it. I don't think about the parameters or anything like that. And I'm used to old school stuff, so I'm buying this stereo player, and I'm thinking, "Ooh, got it." It comes in the mail, and take it out the box. I don't even look at the box. I don't look at the instructions, and I'm just clicking around like, "Why is this stereo not playing? My goodness, it's like, where's the cord? It's supposed to have a cord on this. This is dumb. Why?" And then my husband comes home, "Hey, honey, how's your day?" "Man, Mike," I'm just making up a name. "Michael, I bought this stereo half price, but it don't even work. It's just crazy." And man, because you're problem solvers, you immediately see the box. You see that this stereo is not one that has an electric cord that plugs into an outlet. You see that it's a stereo that requires batteries. Okay. The truth is, that is absolutely true. He is absolutely right that the stereo takes batteries and does not have a cord to plug into. He is absolute right. I'm wrong because I didn't read the instructions, or I didn't read what I was buying. But if he says the first thing that comes on his mind, "Babe, what's wrong with you? Did you not read the box? It takes batteries." He didn't just hurt her feelings without him knowing it. Because he was right all day long. But what he refused to do is to see that she's an emotional being, and she doesn't need to be told it's what she was doing was wrong. But I'm saying men because the men tend to do this. They would just say the first thing that's on their mind, which may be true and right. However, you're going to end up, if you keep doing that, it's going to be lots of problems, and you're going to be confused. Why is she upset all the time? Why is she complaining all the time? That's one of the that's one of the reasons. Because instead of taking Michael Yo's father's advice, do not say the first thing that comes to your mind. Yes, you are absolutely right. I chose the wrong thing, or I chose not to read the description to realize this needs batteries. The second thought, I'll just say it nicely. "Well, babe, if you would have read the thing." No, I'm not going to say that either. Both of those are right. But what I'm going to do is take that third, higher level thinking, grace path, humble path. And you might have to do some mental, emotional exercise to build up this skill, men who can't do this naturally. I'm not going to say that first thing, which is true. I'm not going to say that second thing, which is true either, because both of those are, "Well, babe, don't you see that it's still that underlying message is you're dumb. Why didn't you see that?" You're not going to say those two first things. You're going to do a third thing that is speaking to our sometimes completely irrational, emotional selves, sensitive selves. And like Michael Yo's approach, because he's a comedian, take a deep breath and be creative. Not going to say anything about the fact that I should have realized it took batteries. "You know what, babe? Don't worry about it. I'll go buy you a new stereo." Boom. "Thank you, babe." Now we happy couple all day long. He could have been right coming at her with the you. Why did you do the stupid thing? Didn't you not dumb? Why didn't you go fix it? And that's what happens in relationships. And if you don't want that to happen, if you don't want to make your wife, us, start looking at you crazy and side eyed and becoming resentful and not caring and stuff like this, is understand when we have an issue or we want you to ask us about ourselves. That's when we feel noticed by you. But also when you do ask us how our day is, and if we start off with, in your eyes, complaining, gosh, help us, let that love you claim you have for us be your filter to listen, listen, but hold your tongue. Do not give advice. Do not give unsolicited advice unless we ask you, what should we do? Otherwise, do not say, give us an answer, give us what you think we should do or what we should know. All you need to do is either nod and or just say still simple stuff like, oh, really? But do not give advice. And if it's about something that's a function or a process or something that I just missed this was the right way to do it. Rather than you just pointing that out, like, even if you say it in a nice voice, think higher than you're right and try to come up with something else to say that's going to bypass my own insecurities. And let's have some loving, long-term, healthy, stable relationships. Now, I do want to speak to the naysayers who would say, you're supposed to tell the truth. Tell the truth. This is truth. And absolutely, the Bible tells us to tell the truth in love, speak the truth, live the truth. But there's a paradox also of talking with discernment and what makes sense. And there's a story in the Old Testament where David, he was running from Saul, who was trying to kill him and stuff, and he acted like he was crazy to get with another wicked king kingdom they were trying to take over. So he acted crazy to stay safe. Another story from the Old Testament about people who figgle with the truth, I guess you could say. When the Israelites, they were in slavery and the women were just popping out babies like crazy. And the Pharaoh was like, look, y'all need to kill them babies because, it's too many of y'all. And the Hebrew women, they feared God more than Pharaoh. So they disobeyed the Pharaoh and they didn't kill the babies. Most of them, they tried not to kill the babies. The Bible didn't say God said, why did them wives lie? No, the Bible says he blessed them. He blessed them because Moses was one of the babies that was saved, and, rest is history. So this is not about trying to intentional lie or not tell our truth or anything like that. It's about honoring each other with the love we claim we have. Love is an action word. And love language is a real thing. If you've ever done that, looked into that, it's a true thing. We all have love languages where love translates. And we would have better relationships if we both learned what our language is to each other and not a cookie cutter what love is. Men sometimes come into relationship. If I pay the bills, I'm loving. That's it. That's all I got to do. And all the other things that the wives we complain about, you don't do. And then we eventually divorcing and going our, separate ways. And it leaves men like this confused. Like, I was loving them. I was paying all the bills. But paying the bills might not be my love language. Yeah, you're supposed to pay the bills, aren't you? I don't understand why people, I pay the bills. That's what you're supposed to do. As a man, I don't want to get into the man-woman stuff, but I'm just saying, it's like it behooves us to learn what is it that we say to each, the needs we say to one another. I'm going to listen to what my husband says he wants from me and stuff like this. And when we are doing those things, that's when we can have that ooey gooey, flourishing, oh my gosh, my husband and my wife, they just adore me. They just love me. But the reason I get couples coming to say to me, they say my spouse or mate or boyfriend, girlfriend don't care nothing about me is because of this, what I've discussed in this talk. If you want to have a loving, really loving, long-term relationship, we can only control ourselves. We can't control other people. We can't control our mates. And it is important to take these principles to heart. We all, men and women, will do and say dumb, stupid, foolish, don't make no sense things. And on one hand, yes, some of us don't realize that's what we're doing. Sometimes we know what we did wrong. I don't need you to tell me. But in the world of relationships, as that old woman wisely said, do we want to be right and lonely and single? Right all day long. Ain't nobody gonna tell me what to do. Ain't nobody gonna tell me what we can be alone, stay alone. Or we can be in a relationship where pride and selfishness are not part of our filter to try to understand our mates and love them the way that they are wanting and requesting and complaining to us about to do. Men, because this is kind of focused at you, maybe I'll do another video for us women, because we women do stuff too, but this is particularly for men. Listen, don't say the first thing that comes to your mind, even if it's true about us doing something. Don't say the second thing, because you can't even say the thing we're not doing right in a nice way. Jump up and stretch those brain muscles to come up with a different solution that is not going to hurt our feelings, make us feel unheard and unloved and uncherished. And if you can't really think of anything at the moment, just hug us. Just hug us like, oh, you can be thinking that's the dumbest thing, but I can't think of no other thing to say. And then just hug us. Because and that old saying that if you can't say nothing nice, don't say nothing at all. And I'll say, don't say anything that's really helpful to your mate at all either. We don't want advice unless we ask for it. And interestingly enough, paradoxically enough, I know that men, you tend to don't like for us to tell you what to do either. Interestingly enough, like you can do it to us, but we can't do it to you, really? But anyways, okay, so this is just a little small brief talk. Do we want to be right, or do we want to be in a relationship? And can we take charge of ourselves when we are with another person, judging what they're doing? And can we hold back the truth if it's going to hurt their feelings to tell it to them in the way that we think they should know, versus speaking to the emotions of the other person that we should know if we love them and know them? There's enough shame and guilt going around everywhere in this world already. We don't need any more. We all know we fall short of the glory of God. Ain't nobody perfect. We all make mistakes. So let's get back to healthy communicating, healthy, loving relationships. And it starts with us. It starts with me. All right. You be blessed if you come across this message. Share it as well. If you have people who you know are struggling with their mates, their relationships, share this message with them so we can all get better and have some good, healthy, stable relationships. Okay, bye-bye.